Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are looking at the ASICS Gel Kayano 29. Now, ASICS has made some pretty big changes this year to the Kayano 29, and I think most of us are really going to like it. Now, the Gel Kayano 29 is a max cushioned, moderate stability shoe, but as a neutral runner, I haven't found the stability to be overpowering, and I have enjoyed putting a lot of miles into this shoe during testing. And full disclosure, the ASICS Gel Kayano 29 was sent to me by Roadrunner Sports. However, they are not going to get a chance to see this review video before you do on YouTube. And of course, I will put a link to these shoes in the show notes below where you can buy them from Roadrunner Sports. Now, it is an affiliate link, but when you use my affiliate link, it doesn't cost you any more. It just helps support the channel. With that said, the ASICS Gel Kayano 29 rings in at $160, which I think is actually a pretty fantastic price for the shoe. And you'll see why once we start going over all the specs and the details. Now, ASICS claiming a men's size 9, the Gel Kayano 29 rings in at 10.5 ounces or 299 grams. Now, the best part for you Kayano runners out there is that the 29 has dropped over half an ounce from last year. And let's be honest, when the weight goes down, it's always a good thing. But I don't wear a US men's size 9, I wear a US men's size 13. And in my size, the Gel Kayano tips the scale at 13.2 ounces or 375 grams. So it's certainly not a light shoe, but it is a very comfortable shoe. And for me at least, it doesn't feel as heavy on the foot as the numbers might suggest. But I know a lot of you out there, you like to compare these shoes to all the super lightweight race shoes, which really isn't a fair comparison. The Gel Kayano 29 is going to be more of a daily trainer, kind of tending towards those longer miles or those easier runs. That's where this shoe is really going to shine. Now, according to ASICS, the Gel Kayano does have 25 millimeters in the heel, 15 millimeters in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop. However, we know that for some reason, ASICS doesn't measure their stack height the way other brands do. They measure it without including the sock liner and without including the outsole. So when we include this sock liner, which I know it's not super thick, and we include this outsole material, the orange on my shoe, I am going to estimate that that is going to add at least another 8 to 10 millimeters perhaps. So if we were to compare it to other shoes, I would estimate that the Gel Kayano 29 has around 33 to 35 in the heel and 23 to 25 in the forefoot. But either way, this is a max cushion, moderate stability shoe, and if you are looking for a little bit of stability in your runs, the Gel Kayano 29 is going to treat you well. As I said, I'm a neutral runner and I still find the Gel Kayano to be a super comfortable ride. It's absolutely perfect when you just want to go out and chill on your runs, when you need your shoes to treat your body right. It is spot on. But guys, it is not surprising that I have found this shoe to work well for me. ASICS does actually claim that this is for neutral runners and overpronators. Okay, why don't we start at the top and work our way down? But first things first, this feels like a very well-made shoe. Now, it could just be because the shoe in my size weighs 375 grams and that gives it a good substantial feeling, but the mesh does feel very nice on my fingers. Now, it is an engineered knit mesh upper, and I'm gonna get a little close to the camera so you guys can see. We do have some ventilation holes here on the top. However, at least on the hottest days for me running in Florida, I have found this shoe to run a little warm, but as the temperatures have dropped, I found it to be remarkably more comfortable on my foot. It's not super breathable, but when the temperatures are a little cooler, it works quite well. Let's look at the heel collar first. We can see this heel collar it's very padded. Now, when you put your heel into the heel collar on this shoe, it's like wrapping it in a blanket nice and tight. It just feels good. Feels like it's in place. It feels like you're not going anywhere. There is also an internal heel counter, which is very rigid. There is no pushing the back of this shoe down. And again, that just contributes to locking in your heel. I would be surprised if anyone has heel slip in this shoe. When your heel goes in, it's not coming out. Now, you'll notice on the medial side of the shoe, we have this almost like an external heel counter. And this is part of ASICS IGS, the impact guidance system. And it comes right down the side on the medial side, but when it comes around the back, it stops right here on the lateral side. Now, keep that in mind. We're going to talk more about that in just a second. There are very minimal overlays. We have the ASICS logo on both the medial and lateral side, and we have just little dots around the eyelet chain just to give it a little more support. So ASICS hasn't overdone the overlays, which is good because usually a stability shoe can weigh a little more than its non-stability counterpart. But as I've already said, this shoe has dropped over half an ounce from the previous iteration, and that's because ASICS has dropped the Trustix system. Now, I do have another prop here to show you what the Trustix system was. We can see here on the Gel Nimbus 24, we have this piece of plastic right here. That just runs through the midfoot to give it a little extra support. And ASICS got rid of the Trustix system on the Gel Kayano 29 in favor of foam-based stability. And for me at least, I am a big fan of foam-based stability shoes. I think they're a lot more forgiving, and I think it opens up stability shoes to a wider audience. However, with that said, if you have used the Gel Kayano in the past and you like that rigid stability that the previous iterations have given you, you may be a little disappointed with the Gel Kayano 29. But overall, I think it has opened up this shoe to a lot more runners. The biggest addition to the Kayano 29 is that ASICS is is using Flight Foam Blast Plus in the forefoot. Well, it's not just in the forefoot. You can see on my pair of shoes it's red and it comes all the way up to the heel. And then below that, here on the lateral side of the one I'm holding, is this white foam which comes around the back and then to the medial side where it opens up a little more. And we have a lot more of this white foam on the medial side. Now this white foam is ASICS Light Truss Foam, and it's a lot denser than the Flight Foam Blast Plus. And it's this light truss foam that is actually giving the Kayano 29 its stability. And that's why we have more light truss foam on the medial side than we do on the lateral side. It's the same thing with this TPU IGS small heel counter here that's more prominent on the medial side, just giving your foot a little support to stop it from rolling in. Now again, for me, it is very subtle. It's not actually noticeable that my gait is being controlled, which is actually the best thing that I can say about this shoe. It is supremely comfortable and I don't feel like I'm being guided in any one direction. But if you do find that your foot rolls in just a little bit, the shoe is going to be really good for you. Now also contributing to the extreme stable ride of the Kayano 29 is this outsole. And you'll notice we have a full contact outsole all the way through the midfoot. ASICS hasn't cut anything away here in the middle. And that's probably due to getting rid of the truss stick plate. So we have a little bit of more outsole rubber coming through the middle, which again just gives a little more support. Now all this outsole rubber, I think this is what makes the shoe a good deal at $160. Because my friends, this shoe is going to last. Now it's a little difficult to see on my pair of shoes, but we do have this orange outsole rubber up here on the forefoot and then coming down the side. And here on the lateral heel, we have a slightly brighter orange. This is ASICS AHA rubber. AHA rubber is ASICS High Abrasion Rubber. And basically ASICS has put a little bit of more resilient rubber here where most people are going to be striking. Again, that just contributes to the longevity of this shoe. Now I have put about 40 miles in this shoe before bringing you this review, and I cannot see even any scuff marks on the lateral heel rubber, which is surprising for me. Let me just bring your attention right up to the forefoot again. We do have 3 flex screws, which they make this shoe pretty flexible. And it's this flexibility along with the Flight Foam Blast midsole that makes the transitions super smooth. Now I know I did skip the tongue when we were talking about the upper, but the tongue is not gusseted, which is a little surprising. But I think when I hear when a tongue is not gusseted, it's more of an irrational fear. Like I want the gusset to give me that insurance that the tongue isn't going to slip down to the side. But if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't experienced any tongue slip, and there is a little tongue loop for the laces to go through, so that's going to hold your tongue in place. And the tongue gave me a nice, comfortable feeling when I locked down those laces across my midfoot. All in all, if you are looking for a daily trainer, if you're looking for a shoe to put in the easy miles, or maybe your recovery miles, or maybe just to log the bulk of your running miles, and either you like a stability shoe or you need a stability shoe, the ASICS Gel Kayano 29 is definitely one to think about. When I'm going out for my easy runs, this has definitely been one of the shoes that I grab for, simply because it is just so comfortable. Oh, and I do have to mention that 75% of this upper is made with recycled materials. So if you care about the planet, that's a pretty big deal. Oh, and one last thing that bears mentioning, although I can't say I even notice it other than when I look at the back of the shoe, is this little bit of gel here in the back, which gives the ASICS Gel Kayano 29 the gel part of its name. I think at this point it's more of a tradition thing, as without taking the shoe apart, I really don't know how far the gel goes in, but to be honest, it's not something I notice when I'm out running. And just in case you were wondering, in past iterations of the shoe, they have had a little bit of gel here in the forefoot. They do not have that on the Gel Kayano 29. So this gel in the heel is all you got. Alright guys, if you do have any specific questions about the Gel Kayano 29, drop them in the comments. And if you have made it this far in the video, why don't you drop the brain emoji in the comments, just so I know who stayed to the end. Alright guys, my name's Matt. This has been my review of the ASICS Gel Kayano 29. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.